My name's Chris.
And I'm a snot monster.
And also Kristie. And this is the Washing Up Podcast.
Woo!
And we've had an elimination and a triple immunity challenge.
Yep.
And we'll talk about the triple immunity challenge second, and there's a bit of a discussion to be had.
Yes, I'm saying nothing at the moment or I'll explode.
Yeah, you're all used
Not
to
happy,
me.
Jan.
You're all used to me doing the ranting.
No.
It's Kristie off the long run up tonight.
Yes, let's just leave it because I have to preserve my voice.
Yeah, she has only a little bit of voice there.
Yep.
We've got to save it for the important bit.
Yep.
So let's get into the elimination from last night straight away, shall we?
Sounds good, yeah.
Now, before the episode, we sort of made a bit of a prediction about what we thought was going to happen.
Yes,
Now,
what was it? Because I
You
don't
remember because you're so dosed. So we made a prediction, and of course, the three people last night who were in the elimination were Chloe, Michelle, and Ben.
Oh, it wasn't a fever dream I had.
No. Now, we had a bit of a conversation beforehand, and we're like, what do we think is going to happen? And we went, well, we only think that one of them is actually able to keep up with Gordon in terms of having the skills and the quickness of processing
Chloe.
to be able to do it, which was Chloe. Not that the other two are bad chefs at all. Don't mistake that.
No. Chloe showed that she's got pretty strong skill set.
She showed her skill set, and also she's faster at processing. There's been moments all the way through this series where both Ben and Michelle have found themselves just sort of staring off into space.
Yes.
And you can't do that when you're cooking with Gordon Ramsay and you've got to do a follow-up.
I mean, one of the benefits is that Michelle didn't have Khan there, like, distracting her. With
Yeah,
this
Khan was up there. But, I mean, look, Michelle didn't need Khan to distract her.
No, she had a whirling blade of doom.
Yeah, she had a whirling blade, which you didn't realise. You don't put your hand into the whirling blade.
Oh, that's a silly thing to do.
Now, I loved as well that she cut herself. Gordon asks, was the cut deep? And I said, in my head, all I could hear was Brandon off the gantry going, fuck that, this is a deep cut, and pointing to his hand.
It's like, you know, when you're watching Gordon Ramsay, did he cut his finger? Don't do that. If he didn't cut his finger, don't cut your finger. And even if he does, don't follow him because that's just stupid.
But that raised the question for me.
Yeah.
If Gordon had severed a hand, do they all have like 10 seconds to keep up with Gordon? You've got 10 seconds to cut your hand off or you're eliminated. And then you've got to make the decision. How much does this Masterchef dream need? So are you prepared to go home? That's Kristie dies in the background.
Yeah.
Are you prepared to go home?
Yeah.
Because you didn't cut your hand off?
No commitment.
Or are you committed to trying to win MasterChef so much so that in week 4 you lop off a limb? It is the question that I think nobody's ever been asked before, and I think they should be.
The Masterchef gods are a bloody bunch.
They are, and they do demand ritual sacrifice, and we'll talk about ritual sacrifice a bit later. Sort of came up a little bit as part of the judging of this episode. So Ben also didn't listen to the podcast last night the other night because we were talking about the Bake Off curse.
Yes,
and
don't talk yourself up.
Yeah, don't talk yourself up. So Ben opens the episode by talking about this is my strength.
I thought that was hamburgers.
When they were talking about seafood.
Yeah,
now remember they sold him as a seafood king early on.
Oh, that's right, because he's a crab catcher.
He's a crab catcher.
Now, is it... I hope they vetted that.
I think they did. I'm fairly certain they verified that was all good.
Yeah.
So he's a crab catcher, and that was okay.
Yep.
So he sleeps all night and he crabs all day. So he turned around and said that this was his night. Dangerous thing to do. He then also talked about the fact that Gordon was moving at demon speed. Now, at this point, Gordon wasn't moving quickly. He was just sort of smelling broth. It was like, open the pan, smell the broth, isn't that good? Gordon's moving at demon speed. That's not demon speed. Demon speed is the speed the blade was going when Michelle decided to reach in and grab it. Right? Don't mistake the two. So Michelle had her hand,
yes,
replaced with, I believe, a Luke Skywalker replica.
Indeed.
And then it was really weird because...
Or Jamie Lannister special.
Jamie Lannister special. Because what you ended up having was you had Ben actually started off by keeping up probably better than anybody.
He was in Kardashian mode.
He was flying.
Keeping up with him.
And the interesting part was that Gordon couldn't really believe it.
No?
He kept on looking at Ben, man, you're on fire. This is your moment to shine. Probably talked a little bit soon at that point. And we found that out a bit later. Chloe seemed to be in a world of hurt.
Yeah.
And the reason was she had never worked with Marin before, didn't know much about Marin, didn't know really how to work Marin, didn't know how to get the Marin out of the shell, had no concept of what to do. Now, Ben decided that he was so far clear that he was going to bake off this.
He's going to go over and help.
So he did. Now, we referred to this a few times last night on social media, where we talked about the idea that what he was doing was bake-offing it. Now, by bake-offing it, what we mean for those who don't watch Bake Off, and first of all, why don't you?
Yeah.
Is that in Bake Off, one of the things that is very common
is assistance. Like in the grand final, no less, one of the contestants was having a major issue, and one of the other ones just came over and helped her out.
Yeah,
they'll stick her treasure chest together.
Helped to finish off her treasure chest so she could put up her last bake for the grand final. And that's common on Bake Off. It's not as common on Masterchef. It has happened. Last year it happened a lot, but it's not been common in previous years. So it's really nice to see. We like that about these sorts of shows. Now, we also at this point this is where we also had the starting point of Jess reminding everybody how often she watches Gordon on YouTube.
I watch Gordon's YouTube. I am an expert.
I really wish that rather than verbally telling us that, that Jess was able to pass this information on in Gordon's YouTube comments.
Look.
And they just showed a screen cap of it.
Look, just because I watch every single one of Sandra Lee, MD, a.k.a. Dr. Pimple Poppers...
Yeah, let's not.
...does not make me a qualified dermatologist.
No, it really doesn't.
Don't look at me like that.
As the person living in the house with you. No, it really doesn't make you a qualified dermatologist. You might want to listen to your own advice here.
Is that a cyst on your back? Let me investigate. I really should buy a scalpel.
You don't know what it's like, people, to be sitting here watching television, to look over and see, your other half looking at you lovingly, and then realise that the words out of her lips aren't, I love you, but can I get that during the ad break? There's a blackhead just there.
I know, I'm not alone. And I'm just helping because I've seen what happens when you let them go.
That's the word.
They become...
That's the word you get. I'm helping.
We should get back to MasterChef. Otherwise, this is going to detract from my plan.
Hang on. This is going to detract from it? Yeah. Nothing's going to detract from it. Also, by the way... Random people who've never listened before going,
hi.
Did she just say felching?
Yeah,
she did. It's her thing.
I'm just gearing up for when we talk about tonight's episode.
And Gina, by the way, was furious on the gantry, primarily because they were making a pasta. and Gina's like, hang on a minute, if the Italian nonna doesn't make the pasta in the challenge, did it really happen?
No. You know what? I think I've spoken to Gina on Twitter, and I think I actually worked with her for a little bit, so it's kind of cool.
Cool, awesome.
Ex-colleague. Look at that.
Ex-colleague, well done. So,
if I had known she cooked like that, I would have been like, dude.
Hey.
How are you doing? Where's your pasta?
In the future, you're going to be making that on television. Can I edit now? So Chloe went in and, all right, I'm going to appear like a heartless bastard. And I sort of am, but I'm not.
No.
I'm getting a bit over the sob story. We talked about this last week.
Yeah.
Is every time a contestant goes in there, are they going to cry about their background? More importantly, is every time, and this is not a shot at Chloe, right? Because I get a bit of the feeling that they say to the three judges beforehand, this is her emotional point, push it. Are we going to have Chloe cry about missing her kids every time?
I am jack shit of that.
You're on MasterChef. You knew you were going away. You knew you were being separated from your kids. Yes, it may well be tough indeed, but you're on a cooking television show that can net you fame and fortune.
But the thing that pisses me off more is that they don't do that as equally to the guys.
No.
You don't see all the fathers, like Loki's there and he gets a little bit emotional, but there's no push to make him cry about it. Anytime one of the women come on with children...
You miss your kids?
Yeah, it's like push. Like we need some waterworks. I'm sorry, it's old. It's old hat, and it's been done. We don't need it. Yeah, it's good to touch on it that they are as well parents. Fantastic. Get them excited about what they're cooking.
And every time Chloe is on, they also do the really long profile of her playing with the kids.
Yeah.
And it's always, every time, it's the ultra long profile that you expect from somebody going home. Now, they may be doing this to try to throw us all off the scent of who they're sending home. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
No.
It's been done. Yep. Right? You're telling the story so much, it's losing all meaning.
And the thing is, it's really imbalanced. We're at the point now, we need to start swinging the screen time evenly, and I don't give a shit if that means someone's up in blacks all the time. Like, as much as I praise Chloe's, strong skill set and that kind of thing, she's been in blacks quite a lot. Her and Michelle have both been floating around there, like falling into the blacks.
I mean, she has also had a go at immunity as well. So
yeah,
Chloe's
true.
been all over the place.
Yeah.
But
so she's up, she's down, she's hot, she's cold.
She is the theme song.
She's the theme song, which is great. But what we need to do now is to learn more about the others. Like, I remember it took about 4 to 5 weeks before we saw Elena's profile.
Yeah, and remember Trent. No, you don't. Exactly. That's the point. We do, because we love Trent. But we love Trent, that shadowy figure in the background. I still maintain both Trents are in the back of that shot.
Yeah.
You haven't seen him yet.
No. Every time they show the Vespa, Trenton's actually on the Vespa.
Again, we refer to contestants who you cannot find in the show as Trenting. It has become now the word for a contestant you never see is they're Trenting.
Yeah.
Now, what we did get to learn about one of the contestants last night, and look, I know that he didn't verbally say this.
Yeah.
But you got deep into the thoughts of Ben when they said to Ben a very simple question.
Why Masterchef?
Why Masterchef, Ben?
My response, 2 words, Pete Evans. He's like, I'm not a baker, can't bake, so it's either this or MKR.
Pete Evans.
Pete Evans.
I'm not activating anything.
No.
There is no way I'm activating something.
And there's no way I'm putting myself around a dinner table and being told you're playing this character. I'm not a fucking murder mystery guest. I'm a cook. Like, MKR is essentially going to break out next year, like how to host an MKR party.
It is how to host a murder. It really is.
You there. Are you the toffee bitch who uses expensive ingredients yet fucks them up but bitches out on everyone all the time? Why, yes, I am. Ha, caught you.
Oh, the other thing I forgot with Chloe just briefly was, of course, Gordon gave me one of my favourite lines of the whole series so far.
Which is?
When he talked about sacrifices.
You call that a sacrifice?
My comment on that, and yes, I'm reading a tweet, so if anyone out there is bothered by that, suck it. Chloe, everyone needs a sacrifice to make it. For example, I used to have a cousin, but once we got that altar installed, and a couple of other people talked about the idea of so many sacrifices made, yet lava still flows from volcanoes. So, like, the idea of the sacrifices was a bit lopsided and a bit weird. And again, only Chloe was the one who was spoken to about sacrifices. Ben was just asked why was he on the show, and I don't even remember what Michelle was asked. Maybe it was an Andrew Eddinghausen's autograph. Possibly that's what they were after.
Do you think there's life? Oh, there's a hope for us on Getaway?
Oh no, they didn't ask her. They didn't ask Michelle any questions because they just got Michelle out of there so they could open up what she'd made in hers to find that once again it was raw.
But Michelle has the best response. Her tweet today, which is, I think I should open up a sushi restaurant.
It was so good.
Brilliant. Like,
that's Michelle steering into the skid and playing it really well. I'll give her credit.
Loving it.
I'll give her credit for that. However, I do have to ask the question, how do you serve raw seafood twice in 2 nights? It's an effort to do that. And
this is a question I want to ask. Are they not allowed to use meat thermometers?
They mustn't be.
Because I've never seen a meat thermometer get pulled out. Maybe I have, but I haven't seen it.
No, I think I'm sure I've seen it with roast. I'm sure I've seen them do it.
But they do it with chocolate. Like they do
the temperature with chocolate. But I
just don't know. Like when Chloe pulled out that lamb, surely you've got a meat thermometer to whack in that.
Well, I do know for a fact that part of the course to serve food responsibly involves using a meat thermometer inside a sausage roll.
Oh, really? How do you know that?
Can't. No, not Beck. Maybe a certain, I'm not going to name them, but a certain former MasterChef contestant who had to go off and do a food service course.
Oh, okay, right.
And they came back and mentioned that you had to be able to use a meat thermometer inside a sausage roll to tell the temperature, and that was the main part of the course. Oh. So you must have to know to use them. But I find that interesting.
Check your temps. Oh no, hold on, that's been done by another radio show. We can't really check that.
And I do have to say that my favourite part of the night for Michelle
Yeah.
was at the end when they said everything that she was doing. She's entering into a seasonal partnership with Toto. It's going to take a lot to drag her away from them, I'll tell you now.
But she'll bless those rains down in Africa. She'll cook their meat like it's raw, like you never had.
Don't think you got to running up. You got to run up to come.
Oh, that's right.
Don't waste your voice. So let's
what voice?
So let's get into immunity. Now they announce at the start of it. Now before we even get to the three chefs, let's get to two things. Yeah. Gordon Ramsay's hair.
Oh my God.
Jimmy Neutron called. The volume, the bounce, the landing plateau if you had a small drone.
He really is like one red expensive sports car from a fucking midlife crisis, isn't he, with that hair?
I'm quite sure he's got the car. And Matt Preston.
Oh, what a suit.
We quite often talk about on things like Bake Off, we quite often talk about the Cardi game and the On Point with Mel Buttle and Claire Hooper.
Aprons,
and the aprons and stuff like that. But Matt Preston.
Jesus.
Bam!
Every time you think he's turned it up a notch, he finds another one.
It's an impressive suit. Even Preston was tweeting about his suit tonight. Yep. He was thoroughly impressed with his suit.
But I would be too. If I was Preston, I'd be like, look, I outdo myself all the time, but tonight.
I mean, my favourite suit that he's had is still the Willy Wonka one. I love that Willy Wonka purple. It's so good.
One day, my love.
One day, that is
Maybe
the dream.
When you get married. Oh, hold on.
Hang on. Been there, done that floral jacket. Yeah. Anyway, so we had the three of them in tonight, and they decided to put them up, all of them, into a group immunity challenge. It was supposed to be one-on-ones, but they do a knife draw, but it didn't look very much like a knife draw to me.
No.
They just seemed to pair up man, woman.
Yeah, which I thought was a bit naff.
I thought that was a bit naff, and as we'll come to at the end of this, cost one contestant an immunity pin, and I think rather unfairly. So we'll come back to that.
Absolutely.
Now, they announced they were going to be taking on three of the greatest chefs of all time.
Yep.
Well, not the greatest chefs of all time, but we're paraphrasing because they always talk them up because nobody ever knows who they are.
Please welcome
the Iron Chefs. No,
that would have been fucking brilliant. Imagine that.
If I mean, I don't care which third chef they used, by the way.
No.
But if they had Chen Kenichi and Hiroyuki Sakai come into the shed, I would have
sorted.
They come into the Masterchef kitchen. I wouldn't have cared which of the third ones they used. Iron Chef Italian would have been okay.
Yeah.
But as long as you have Kenichi and Sakai.
Yeah.
And I love Hiroyuki Sakai. And
just a little.
You know, I know that Elena Duggan got to meet and work with him at one point, and I have told Elena personally that I'm insanely jealous of the fact she got to cook with Sakai.
If you wouldn't be. I
love
amazing.
Sakai. Anyway, the challenge tonight.
Yes.
Was fruit or vegetables? Now, they chose vegetables.
Yes, they did. They chose vegetables.
Okay, so Reese begins and says, I'm making a sorbet, because of course he is.
But why wouldn't you?
Because it's vegetables and you might want to do something maybe outside your comfort zone that's not, like a sorbet with the granita.
Or you're going into an immunity challenge and you want to play to your fucking strength.
It's a sorbet and a granita again.
And he did it really fucking well.
He did. I'll give him credit. We'll talk a bit more about the credit in a minute.
Yeah.
But it's a sorbet and granita again. And furthermore...
Yeah. It could have been worse. It could have been a fucking parfait, couldn't it? Then you would have blown your top.
A cucumber.
Yeah. Goes well with the Pims.
For the big game.
Yeah. Where was the Tanqueray? That's what I wanted to know.
Now my father is a horticulturist.
Oh, yeah.
By trade. One of the things I've had drilled into me from day one is how to spell chrysanthemum. But another one of the things I've had drilled into my head is that a cucumber is a fruit.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
Definition.
Yeah.
In botany, fruits, flowers, leaves and stems can all be seen as vegetables. According to botanists, those who study plants, a fruit is a part of the plant that develops from a flower. It is also the section of the plant that contains the seeds.
Okay.
Therefore, a cucumber is a fruit.
Yeah, but you don't...
Comes from the flower,
Yeah.
contains the seeds.
Yeah,
it's a fruit.
Oh, but you put it in salad and not a fruit salad.
That's on you.
So?
He put cucumber in a granita and a fucking sorbet, right?
And-
That is not its natural home or habitat, but he did it.
Yeah, but
so
we're talking...
cucumber in a salad, that may not be its natural home or habitat.
Yeah, but we're not talking about like technically specific, like we're not talking about horticulturalists. We're talking about cooks. What do cooks class as? They class it as a veggie. Why? Because it's savoury.
No. It's not about what cooks classify things as. You don't get to reclassify things.
But in a colloquial sense. Like pumpkin, for instance.
We're
by
about
that
to get to that. We're about to get to that.
Go on to the pumpkin then.
No, we'll go to Sashi first. Because there's something that's less controversial.
Yeah.
He's making duck with vegetables in a curry sauce. Less controversial. He used tomato. It's a fruit. Right. Samira, a pumpkin pilaf with caramelized quail and saffron. Pumpkin, a fruit.
Yes, but in a colloquial sense, they're all fucking vegetables.
So why did Ramsay then throw a tantrum when the dessert chef grabbed a couple of things that were sort of slightly fruit-like?
Because one...
Like dates... and threw them badly. They floated. He was hoping for an effect he didn't get it. The bag made them float.
Because they would have been displayed on the fruit table, not the vegetable table.
No. The dates were in the pantry. She went and grabbed them from the pantry.
Because we're talking about chef classification, not fucking horticulturalist classification.
Horticulturist. My father will kill me if you get that word wrong.
Horticulturalist. Horticulturalist.
There's no L.
I don't care.
Horticulturist.
I'm doing it how a chef would classify it.
So, anyway.
And your mum doesn't go, oh, eat this pumpkin left on your plate. She doesn't go, oh, eat all the fruit on your plate. She says, eat all the vegetables on your plate when there's clearly pumpkin there, which is technically classified as a fruit. But normal people who aren't fancy pants and trying to be technically correct call it a vegetable. It's a deal, Buchanan.
Normal people who aren't trying to be technically correct. That is a Trumpian phrase if ever I've heard one.
Look, you don't understand that pumpkin is a vegetable. It's the greatest vegetable. It's big. It's huge.
It's huge.
It's the same shade as me.
Anyway, so Reese, as I said, decided that he needed to double down. He needed to double down on what he was doing by adding a granita, because of course you do. Now, this is where we get to talk about some of the greatness that is Gordon Ramsay. Now, the real story, forget the whole idea of fruits and vegetables and all sorts of bits and pieces.
That's just easy banter.
Gordon Ramsay
Yep.
is amazing.
We all know
this. We all know this, but what we learned tonight are a couple of things. First of all, he managed to deliver sentences that we've all heard every time this show is on and gone, yeah, okay, this is a trope. And he has delivered them with such passion and verve and vigour that you just can't help but love the man. I mean, when he was trying to get Sashi to think about his sources for the duck is what? Duck is what? It's grr, it's and Sashi's looking at him going, big, bold, and they go, rich, it's rich, there you go, rich, like you, man, big man, rich. Off, and Sashi's standing there going, I'm rich, this is great, I'm going to make a sauce, it's going to be wonderful.
What he should have done is Gordon Ramsay comes up to Sashi and goes, it's big, it's grr, it's like me after being here for a week, it's rich. Because seriously, I'm sure he's getting paid in a week what these guys win at the end of the fucking competition.
The other thing I really enjoyed about Ramsay tonight was that when Shannon Bennett does this, he doesn't really have the credibility depth to be able to sort of go up to the chef in the kitchen, the professional, and give them a bit of a serve. He can sort of have a lighthearted, they're making you work tonight. Yeah. Ramsay walks into the pantry, opens the door, says, they're going to kick your asses, you're all in a bit of trouble, walks back out. They all high-five the fact that Ramsay just told them off.
Yeah. Oh my God, he just put us down. It's like, I'm against bullying, but Ramsay does it in such a way that you feel honoured.
Yeah.
He's a walking, like, fucking, what's that syndrome? You know, Stockholm Syndrome. It's like he's got a miasma of Stockholm Syndrome around it, and you just love the fact that he's like when did he say to Sashi, he goes, clean up your shit, and you just saw Sashi smile like he just swore at me.
Nobody is upset when Gordon Ramsay tells them off.
No.
Nobody.
Because one, you're hoping it's going to turn into a GIF.
There's not a single person. Like, everyone's like, oh my God, Gordon. Like, there's a reason why people send Gordon Ramsay photos of shithouse meals they've made on Twitter. So he can verbally rip them to pieces, and everyone favourites it and loves it and retweets it. Ramsay smashed my dish and told me it looked like a dog had crapped in a plate. Isn't that amazing? He's just got this way, and he makes you feel good while he's making you feel shit. So, random number one, because let's face it, we never bother to learn their names. Yep. Random number one was making the mussels and the dashi broth, and that was his plan.
You mean the fruit broth?
Yeah, apparently so.
It was mussels and fruit with your
tomato.
Fruit.
Yeah, I know. It was tomato. Well done. You've learned.
Fuck you. I'm getting it. Oh, my God.
Joe, the female.
Yes.
Joe, the female chef, went... Well, first of all, haven't we had enough running with bottles in the kitchen?
Could we just call her Joe the chef?
We can.
Because, like...
We can.
She's a chef.
I know. I was clarifying for the people at home. Sorry.
Okay. No, sorry.
So... We had running with bottles.
Don't do that. We're seeing how this ends.
Brandon up on the gantry, just freaking the fuck out.
He's like, God, he's such a...
She's running, waving, by the way, carrying this bottle of wine under her arm. I
swear
it was for the drinking.
Yes.
I didn't see her use it. I swear she was just getting drunk. Like Ramsay was running around. She's like, I'm hoping Gordon Ramsay won't come near me, as Ramsay walks up behind her, yells at her, takes the fruit off her bench, as I said, throws the packet of dates, which has no effect because they floated to the ground.
He just got an updraft.
It was the prunes on donut days, but he threw the prunes away. Then there was the man I'm referring to as the Scotsman. And my God, did he live up to expectations as a Scottish chef.
Oh, you have to cook with vegetables here.
Now, he didn't deep fry chocolate.
Well, he's the only one that got real vegetables.
Ramsay cornered him and went, we're the same age, we're from the same town in Scotland. You've got a lot to live up to here. And he's just shitting himself going, I love Gordon Ramsay, fuck.
I'm screwed.
And it showed in what he cooked, which was a roast.
See, you went to school and grew up in the same town as Ian Thorpe.
Yeah.
And you love swimming. Like, that would be, like, the equivalent of, like, just...
Oh, yeah, we get in the pool, he's slaughtering me.
Exactly.
There's a reason why at swimming carnivals we used to just watch him. Right, like none of us were dumb. Oh, there was one kid who used to race him. That never ended well for him.
No.
Said the day they were swimming down the pool and they both hit the wall at the same time, and the kid got up and went, I won, I did it. Then turned around because he was 2 laps behind. That was fun.
Can I just, like, recount a bit of, like, embarrassment from my school days?
Go. It's what the people live for.
This is the last time I ever raced in a school carnival. It was backstroke. Now, when I was at primary school, I was this big fish, small pond. It was a primary school of about, 90 kids. I used to come first or second in that school. Then I get to high school and I do my backstroke. I was asked to leave the pool because I was so slow, and it was only 100 metres, mind you, and I hadn't even made my first turn, and they asked me to leave.
Look, we're closing. Everyone's gone home.
She's going the distance. She's not going for speed.
She's all alone in the pool and in need. Because she's splashing and thrashing and drowning, of course.
So I earned my 1 point for Red House, and that was it.
Well done.
Yeah.
Now, the Scotsman, to go back to the Scotsman again, because this is how we got here. I'm going to make roast sirloin with leeks and Yorkshire puddings. And Gordon Ramsay nearly eviscerated him. You're making Yorkshire puddings. It's a vegetable challenge. Scottish. What do you expect me to do? Like, deep fry a Mars bar while you're at it. I mean, just do it. I mean,
I'm serving it on leeks. What more do you want?
Because you married someone with a Scottish last name.
I'm now Lady Bukeford.
You are Lady Bukeford, we know this.
Combined English and Scots together.
So he then went back to Sashi again, Gordon, and came up with more inspiration.
Sashi.
Sashi!
I can't do it.
And he went back to Sashi and he decided to be just mystery. For some reason, he's decided that Sashi gets all the inspirational quotes. He is Inspirobot. He is Inspirobot for Sashi. He turns around, he's like, what does the duck need? What does the duck need? S-A-L. Salt! It's like, yes, it needs salt. And then he stood there and showed him how to score the duck and how to seal the duck off. And you've got this. This is it. You've got this, big man. This is all on you. You've got this. And walked away. And Sashi, again, the chest pumps out.
Yeah.
He looks around the kitchen going, I'm going to own this. I can seal a duck.
He was equal opportunity fowl and poultry advice, though, because he's come up to Samira. Samira's like, I was thinking of deboning the quail. He goes, well, there's 2 ways you could do that. And he's gone, you just click in here. Or
Every time he stepped in with someone, he gave insanely good practical advice that you could follow in about 30 seconds. Shannon Bennett, when he does it, and we've praised Shannon for this in the last couple of episodes, but God, when you watch Ramsay do it, Shannon Bennett is not even in his league.
No.
Shannon Bennett gives you all like random hints and lets you work out how they're... Gordon Ramsay goes, you can do this way, or this way. I'll show you which one do you want to do.
Yeah. Now start thinking about your plating.
Yeah, now start thinking about your plating. Remember, you've got to do this, this, this. Was genius. And he got stuck into the professionals. He really did. He did not go, they're kicking your ass over there. What do you think you're doing? He also went over then to Reese and told him why he needed to take the seeds out of the cucumber. Yeah. He's like, what are seeds in a cucumber? Water. Okay, what happens to water when it breaks down? Okay, so what do you need to do? Remove the seeds. So what you need to do is work out a way to take the seeds out of it, then cut it really thin without the seeds so you can wrap it up so the water doesn't break it down. Genius.
Yep, and Reese did it and it worked out perfectly. He just got the the bits of the cucumber that, on the outside that had no seed on it.
It was genuinely incredible. Now, I don't, and again, I didn't really want to give Reese credit for it because, as I said, I think he makes too many desserts, and I didn't agree with making a dessert here. But I have to give him credit. It looked great.
Yeah.
It looked it was the second best dish of the night. The best dish of the night belonged to Joe. That potato mille-feuille looked incredible, and those chips looked amazing.
Yep.
Like the way that she put that whole thing together, and she's desperately scrambling and worked out the ginger to give it the nice spice that she wanted.
Yep.
And that was really clever, and I thought that was a really well-worked dish. And Samira, again, with her quail, that was a really well-worked dish too, and we'll come back to that because it is one of the top dishes of the night.
Absolutely.
So, we then had the last moment of Gordon Ramsay as Inspirobot. Sashi and Gordon had a yelling competition. Sashi filled up the jug with curry sauce.
Yes.
Again, I wonder if they could tell who made it. And Gordon's like, no, big man, no, you don't do that. Less is more. Let me hear it. And this followed as less is more. No, yell it out. Less is more. Yell it out. Yell it out. By the end of it, they're screaming at each other. Less is more. He goes, that's it. Let's do it. And again, Sashi, by this point, I was ready to punch through a wall. Sashi was just about swinging off the top of the gantry.
I could feel my cold and flu germs quaking.
They were terrified.
They were terrified.
And Sashi goes, that's my mantra from here on in. Less is more. I'm going to be the best I can be.
He comes in tomorrow night just dressed in underwear.
Sashi, where are you? Less is more.
Less is more.
It was just... That man, he's incredible.
He gets half an hour's sleep. Don't you think you need more sleep? Less is more.
So you had Joe and Samira. Now, this is where we weren't happy because...
Yep.
The challenge was billed as 3 on... there was 3 versus 3,
yep.
But then it was boiled down to 1-on-1. Now, I don't believe it was a random knife draw. We've talked about that. Don't think it was random. I think they paired them up. Secondly, it's not really an individual challenge because it wasn't like they were each given an individual item they had to use and it was only that pairing. It was a general challenge.
Yep.
Surely the top 3 scores should have all been rewarded.
Yep.
Now, Samira did an outstanding job, got 9, 8 and 8.
Yep.
Joe got 9, 10 and 10.
Which was well-deserved.
And it was definitely the dish of the night. And it was the most well-deserved dish.
So I got the 2 highest scores right there and then.
So it's like, great, fantastic. Yeah, she actually got, I think Samira got a higher or the same score as Reese did.
Yep.
It was about the same. Joe's dish was superb. She deserved to win that. But I also did have to ask the question when George was judging it. He talked about Samira's dish with the quail and went, you walk into a cafe and see this on the menu. What cafe are you walking into where there's a quail dish?
One in his postcode area.
One that he owns?
One that he owns.
One that he owns and doesn't pay the staff for.
Yeah. All the profits go into quail.
Then we had...
Don't go into the pockets of the workers.
Then we had disappointing battle. If it was Iron Chef, they would have called it disappointing battle. Because Sashi versus, as I called him all night, Scottish guy. Now, they said Sashi, the sauce was great, but nothing else seemed to link. The duck didn't link with the vegetables. It all seemed to... Yep. I blame the fruit on the plate personally. The tomatoes, that was a problem. But Sashi, they said, didn't link. Then they looked at Scottish guy's meal and went, it's meat with a Yorkshire pudding, and the vegetables are just sort of hiding under the meat, and they're not really nothing fancy, nothing special. They're just there.
Yeah.
Which is true. Nothing wrong with that. So Sashi got a higher score by 1 point, which he deserved, but Sashi's...
But they were like 21 and 20.
20. 20 was the score.
Yeah.
So Sashi, who got a 20, gets an immunity pin.
Yep.
Samira, who got scores of 8, 8 and 9, doesn't get a pin.
She gets a total of 27.
No pin.
And probably the second top score.
It was Joe, and then I think it was Reese and Samira tied, and then the gap.
Yeah.
So Sashi gets a pin, and that's not against Sashi. Good on him. Yeah, well done. Woo. But
the framework is dodgy.
The framework is dodgy because Samira was robbed. Hashtag justice for Samira.
Absolutely. And maybe what they should have done then is just tested all the dishes separately.
Yep.
Then scored the top 3 chef's dishes against, like rank the chef's dishes in order, first, second, third.
Yep.
Against the competitors' dishes, first, second, third, and done it that way, not a one-on-one battle like that. Like that was, it's, because usually the way immunity works is that the contestants go in and whoever's in the top spot gets rewarded. Like you go in, you battle out against each other. Whoever's on fire that night goes into the one-on-one battle for the immunity pin, and then if they're better than the chef, then they get it. Like they have to earn it. Tonight, it just felt like it's Samira's week. Samira didn't get rewarded. No.
And somebody who was, if that was an individual challenge with the 3 of them to get into the immunity, the person who would not have come anywhere near the immunity got the pin.
Yep.
It doesn't work. And again, it's not Sashi, it's the framework.
Exactly.
Right? It's the framework. And if I'm Samira, I am feeling absolutely robbed and cheated.
Yeah, and I'm annoyed on her behalf. And particularly like we didn't see the knife pull, did we? We were just told there was a knife pull, which I think is, bullshit in that framework. Like if you did a knife pull, show it.
And again, they miraculously paired up female with female and male with male.
Exactly. And it just...
I don't think so.
It reeks of shithouse.
It really does. And then we moved, as Matt said, to the Monet part of the gallery.
Oh, flowers drifting by the way.
So the first dish was the shellfish and tomato.
Yes.
Which, as Matt Preston put it, smells like a fishing port.
Oh, that turns me off seafood so bad.
I could smell Bateman's Bay. As somebody who went on holidays in Bateman's Bay a lot, I could smell Bateman's Bay.
Oh, no. You didn't go to Glebe High School, right? Which was designed to look like a boat and is directly across from the fish markets.
Ooh.
Now, we didn't have aircon because, New South Wales schooling sucks ass, particularly for high school students. So you had the choice, open the window on a hot day and get the breeze and get gassed out by the fishy smell, or keep them closed and just have the heat and a lingering fishy smell. It's up to you.
Exactly. So this one wasn't a contest. The broth wasn't good. They said, it wasn't there. Reese's looked great.
Yeah.
Tasted good.
And executed beautifully.
It wasn't a contest.
No. Thoughtfully presented.
Now,
so many flowers, it outdid my wedding, almost.
Didn't outdo your wedding. So what happened? Well, what we learned out of tonight is, first of all, don't do this again.
No.
Right, you need to break it up. Secondly, what we learned is that the show is so much better with Gordon Ramsay. I have never seen Twitter so positive for Masterchef in my life, and it was Gordon Ramsay. Now, if you had told me at the start of the week that Twitter would be going nuts positively over Gordon Ramsay's appearance, I would have laughed.
Yeah.
He's been amazing. He has earned whatever the hell paycheck CBS in America is writing for him to come out here.
Yeah.
Whatever they're paying him, not enough. Right?
No.
He deserves more. He managed to light up, like when they said to Sashi, what would this pin mean to you? It didn't sound trite. It sounded like it was really the most important thing.
Yeah.
And Sashi gave a genuine answer. He's made this stuff that's really bland into the most fascinating thing.
And the thing is,
and he rode these guys with the pins too. He was celebrating. He was cheering. He was on the edge of his seat.
Now, the little difference is I love Nigella, but she comes in quite reserved to MasterChef. And there is a little bit of a, I'm doing this for the money and because, I'm here, I may as well do it, can do my book tour, blah, 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 while I'm here. When Gordon came in, he came in with a genuine respect for the program. He's like, do you guys know how popular this is overseas? He came in genuinely understanding what, what this show means to a lot of us fans, but also as a fan himself.
Yeah.
And so everything he does has been genuine and authentic and wanting to add to the show, not as a, he could have come in just like shitting all over the place, his personality, like just Gordon Ramsay vomit here, Gordon Ramsay vomit there. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, just like, it could be the Gordon Ramsay show.
He's come in and he's added to it. He hasn't taken over it. He's just added to it.
And he hasn't not been Gordon Ramsay, but he's having fun. He's displaying his passion, and it's at the right level, in a way that.
And the level of advice that he's giving is sensational.
Absolutely,
it's a level that you can only dream of.
And you just look at the gantry. There's Sarah jumping up and down,
and like earlier this week,
Joel red face being hugged by Aldo.
And earlier this week, when he told Sarah that her dish was shit, she was upset, but by the same token, she was like, Gordon Ramsay
told me my dish was shit.
Which did lead us to a quick conversation. Who would you like to see come in as a guest week in the MasterChef kitchen? Now,
I had two suggestions.
There were two suggestions that you put forward, and I cannot argue with either of them.
Martin Yan.
I love Martin Yan.
Who the fuck doesn't?
I attribute...
Yan can cook, so can you.
Xiaoshen. I attribute a large percentage of the reason why I love cooking to watching a hell of a lot of Martin Yan when I was younger.
Look at this crab.
In the meantime.
It's beautiful.
And again, he talked up the quality of food, and that was a selling point for me. Your second suggestion, however, is the winner. And Twitter went nuts when you suggested this.
Action Bronson.
Action Bronson. If you don't know who Action Bronson is, what the hell are you doing? Or more importantly, what the fuck are you doing? Go and find Fuck That's Delicious.
SBS, I think, online.
SBS Viceland / go to YouTube and type in Fuck That's Delicious. The books that it is...
Not only do you get Action Bronson, you get Mayhem, who is fucking hilarious. Big black dude
who loves seafood, would be standing on the gantry as Action's hype man the whole time. He loves fried chicken. He loves seafood. They're very knowledgeable about both of these things.
Wine.
He would be up there drinking natural wine.
Yep.
They love Melbourne. They absolutely adore Melbourne. And so you would get them into the kitchen in a heartbeat.
Yeah. So, when you watch those destination cooking shows or destination restaurant shows where they go and review something and then they come to your city and they go to the naffest, shittest place, but it's got a good reputation, but it's shit. No, Action Bronson came to Sydney and he went to fucking Cabramatta for the best fur. Because you know why? That's where you get the best.
The guy we knew, his mother made pho at this restaurant.
Yeah.
So he went to Cabramatta, and he's walking down the street of Cabramatta doing a food documentary about a normal, like, little cafe.
Yep.
And it wasn't one of those boutique cafes. It was your stock standard shopfront cafe.
Mm-hmm.
He went to Melbourne. Yes, he went to Attica with Ben Chouari. That was great. Went and looked at the garden, though, and the produce. At the same time, he then finished the show on a rooftop in Melbourne, drinking natural wine, ordering buckets of fried chicken from a fried chicken place down the road.
Yep. And
In
I think
Perth, they went diving for mussels and scallops and brought them back and cooked them on the beach.
And this is the thing, I think it's because he actually goes for the authentic places. It gives a lot more credence to the places he does go, which have a reputation. So by the fact that he's going to the good, out-of-the-way places, yet he goes to Attica, it gives him more credibility to Attica. So
I would love to see Action Bronson come in for a week.
And then, like, particularly if Australia can, like, decriminalise or legalise marijuana. Because the fucking group challenge...
He'd bring the bong with him.
That would be hilarious.
He'd bring the bong with him, and you just see these moments where, like, George, you come over and go, so, Action, what are you looking for?
1 second.
Anyway, got my natural wine. Looking at this fucking thing over. Delicious. Look at these clams. Look at the... Hey, Mayhem, look at these clams. They're beautiful, Action. Beautiful.
I'm already eating them. And then they'd they'd go into have their rap concert and stuff too. Look at me sounding so street. I'm so white. And then they come back and do this. It's just...
I can imagine them pimping out the Vespa.
Yes. Mayhem would actually ride that thing.
I'd love it.
They give it hydraulics.
No, but he wouldn't be able to, start it. He'd just be pushing it around. I've seen him do that on the show. Anyway, so that's our suggestion. If you've got a suggestion as to who you would like to see as the guest on MasterChef for a week, hit us up on Twitter, hit us up on Facebook, let us know what you think and who you would like to see. And we've only got a couple of nights of Gordon Ramsay left.
I know.
It's going to be sad.
So sorry.
Tomorrow night it looks like he rips them to shreds in the team challenge.
But I'm looking forward to?
Yeah.
I'm actually looking forward to Thursday night's, what's it called?
Masterclass?
I
hope they're doing a masterclass.
They better fucking do a masterclass. They have to.
I mean, technically his whole week has been a masterclass.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they don't do one, we've seen one the whole week.
Yeah, but I'm really looking forward to that this week.
Aren't we all? So, anyway, I think we finished this show with basically the idea of justice for Samira. I think that's sort of our takeaway message to you. Hashtag justice for Samira. Anyway, I'm still Chris.
I'm still sick.
You are still sick. Hopefully you're better by the next podcast. Yes. And we'll catch you all later.
Bye-bye.